You guys know what time it is. It's my favorite time of the month. It's everyone's favorite time of the month. It's stocks to buy time. It's time to go into 3 great stocks that I want you to buy. Heads up, 2 of them are great stocks. One of them, a little speculative, but I think you'll like it. So we're going to go into this. We're going to get right in. I got a lot to talk about today. First up, my darling stock, as you might know, Facebook. I'm glad it's making the list this month because this, as I've said so many times, is going to be one of the best buys you'll have in your life. So why is that? Facebook, obviously, nowhere near. It's nowhere near just the Facebook platform, as the company name might state. Facebook owns. It's hard to say what they're not involved in at this point. I'll get into that shortly of everything I like about Facebook. I want to go into some of the details about Facebook that I like as well in terms of numbers. And then we'll go ahead and get into the business models that I like. So, Facebook right now, what really is ridiculous right now, this company is trading at a forward PE of 18.64. That's some sort of fair value for like a consumer staple stock, This is not a tech stock valuation. These kind of companies usually trade upwards of 30 forward PE, This is a stock that's, in my opinion, severely undervalued. And growth is coming hard and fast with this company. Hard and fast. What else do I love about this company? Well, they pretty well print money, if I'm being honest with you. So, revenue of $62.6 billion trailing 12 months. And a gross profit of $46.5 billion. That's ridiculous. That's so much. So they're printing money. In a year, they made $46 billion printing money. Total cash on hand of $48 billion. $48.6 billion. They have $50 billion in cash on hand, with debts of only $8 billion. So after their debts are paid off, they've got $40 billion in cash just sitting around. I love when a company has extra money, because not only does that mean they can reinvest in their business, that means in the future they can reinvest in shareholders as well. Now, Facebook is not a company that pays a dividend, but in the future, I believe they absolutely will. And this is 5-10 years down the line, whenever they've peaked their growth phase, I would say. Stocks have a little bit of a life phase. They usually start on this growth speculation phase, move to this main growth phase, and then eventually they'll mature into more of a dividend stock type company, where you see a lot less fluctuation in price and you see a nice consistent dividend to sit there and stimulate you. A company with this much cash, absolutely down the line, is going to be paying its shareholders back with dividends, and that's why I want to build up my position as high as I can while I can. So later down the road, I'll not only have that capital appreciation, I'm also going to be getting money from dividends later on. That's my opinion on the matter. I don't know about yourself, but I personally believe this is a company that's going to be paying dividends in the future, and that's why I love them. They make so much money. They print money, in my opinion, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. What else do I love? I mean, if we just do a quick look here of revenue, look at this revenue train. Train? It's pretty well a train. From $17 billion in 2015 to trailing 12 month of $62 billion. In 4 years. 4 years. You're telling me you've increased your revenue by 5 times. That is ridiculous growth, and it's not slowing down. It's not like the growth's slowing down. This company's still growing at a rapid rate, and that's what I love. Love, love, love it about Facebook. So, what led to this kind of pricing that we see right now? Let's go 5 years out. Obviously, overall as a company's growing rapidly. This rapid drop here would be partially due to an earnings in which it didn't necessarily impress people. They still made a lot of money in profit. Revenue was good, but a little bit less than expectations, about half of what they expected in terms of earnings per share. And this coupled with the Cambridge Analytica scandal, wherever data was being sold to a third-party company. Again, a lot of issues. There was a boycott Facebook phase. People aren't at all going to be boycotting Facebook. You know, they did at one point, but people returned to Facebook. I'm going to get into what segments I love about Facebook now. So Facebook obviously has the Facebook platform, which has been around forever. You know, seems like it's been around forever, right? There's still growing users on the Facebook platform too. So it may seem crazy because this website's been around forever. There's still growing users. And this is entirely around the world as well. It's not just like a United States thing. This isn't around the world. There's still growing users. And think about all that untapped potential in India, where they have so many restrictions on internet use. China, where it's banned. Think about the potential in the future. That's all I can say. Just for Facebook platform alone. Their second biggest platform, Instagram, is growing so rapidly it's crazy. It's a company that they bought originally for $1 billion. That company's nowhere near $1 billion anymore in terms of valuation by itself, in case you were curious. That company's rapidly growing, and they're finally working on ways to make more money through it. So part of that's through monetization. Online ad rates are increasing pretty rapidly. They're at a very high point, and they're making a lot of money through that. They're also having Instagram Shop, where they're allowing their content creators to have links to certain shops where they can sell products. Facebook gets a cut of that. They also have Instagram TV, which allows, again, content creators to make content for people who subscribe to that Instagram TV to view. And trust me, people like that. Stuff like makeup tutorials, that's what people are on Instagram for. You know, they're on there for those beauty tutorials, Facebook tutorials. They want to look at people that make them feel better about themselves, or worse about themselves, really. But they want to see someone who's quote-unquote perfect, right? A lot of editing, by the way. But regardless, that's why people are on Instagram. It's a platform that's still growing rapidly, very popular among the kids. Come on, I'm a kid. It sounds ridiculous me saying that. So they also own WhatsApp is another platform they own, still growing, still working on ways to monetize that. So that's definitely a revenue growth in the future. Another major aspect people don't consider because you wouldn't think about it, Facebook owns Oculus. So Oculus recently passed $100 million in terms of sales on apps. So that's apps alone. That's not including the hardware. Oculus is a virtual reality system. They just released the Oculus Quest, which is you're able to move, more in public there. You're not anchored down with the Oculus Quest, which is really cool. Virtual reality is 100% the future, just of the industry as a whole. In terms of video gaming, everything. Virtual reality is the future. Calls, businesses. Think about businesses doing conference calls. This is the future. Virtual reality is just where it's at, and it's gonna be that way. We're gonna go ahead and see a lot of growth just through the Oculus platform as well, because they're at a good spot right now to compete with any competition. So Oculus, it's gonna be good in the future. It already is good right now. It's gonna bring in a lot of money for them, though. I can guarantee it. We also have Facebook Dating, which is another. They just released Facebook Dating, which is crazy to me. So that's a competitor. It's going to be interesting how they roll that out, see how that's going. We have Facebook smart glasses that are going to be coming out. My gosh, are you kidding me? Smart glasses? This is not for a couple years, obviously, but it's absolutely something to look forward to, because this is going to be, again, this is the future. Smart glasses, products like that are the future. It's going to be super cool to see that. Facebook recently bought a company with the ability, as for what it said, it's supposed to be able to read brain waves, so that way it can kind of sense what you're doing. I don't know if this is going to be an artificial intelligence like an Amazon Alexa, that'll answer properly to questions. My guess is that's probably what it's going to be more like. But we'll see in the future what they do with it. It's going to be super interesting. That's all I can tell you. If they integrate that voice assistant with these smart glasses, I think Facebook's got a lot planned for the future, and there's a lot of growth to come in this company. I think you need to get in right now, or else you're going to miss a lot of money in the future. This is a company I could see easily you'll double your money. Easily you'll double money within a couple of years, 2-3 years out the road, which would be ridiculous, but it's coming, I promise. Please buy Facebook stock. I can't tell you enough. I love Facebook stock. It's my darling. I gotta move on now. Enough about Facebook stock. We're gonna talk about Activision, or now Activision Blizzard. Activision. Sean Connery. Activision Blizzard. After the merger between Activision and Blizzard, so Activision is more known for more console gaming, such as like Call of Duty series. They've always been making competing Call of Duties to, like, Treyarch would make one, then the next year Activision would make one, and then Treyarch would make one, then Activision would make one. That's just how they were doing. So Activision's pretty well known for their Call of Duty series. Blizzard, more known for, I would say, like World of Warcraft. I don't particularly partake, but we shall see. They also own King Mobile, which is something I want to feature here too. So King Mobile makes mobile apps. Obviously, they are the makers of Candy Crush. I just want to show you this quick revenue chart just of a minor part of their business here, King. So, I mean, you can see when Candy Crush came out, right? It's pretty obvious. People are still spending a crap ton on Candy Crush, and they're still growing users. Still growing users on Candy Crush. People are still buying lives and power-ups on Candy Crush because people that get into it, they want that instant gratification. They don't want to wait for lives. They don't want to not be able to beat a level. If they can't beat a level, they're going to buy for extra spins or extra turns. It's crazy. People spend a lot of money, and they don't usually feel it because they don't have to buy it outright. They allow you the ability to add it to your phone bill, which is crazy because people just spend a crap ton without realizing it, and then they pay it later. I can't believe it. I couldn't imagine doing that. But this is $2 billion in consistent revenue they've made over the past 6 years. Lovely. Just from a mobile platform. And obviously King will be working on producing new games. It's really cool. Really cool. Definitely something to keep an eye out for. King making a lot of money. And that's just one aspect. In terms of mobile too, Activision's coming out with Call of Duty Mobile, which is kind of going to be more of a way to compete with like a Fortnite Mobile, things that can compete with those shooter games that are on your phone. Obviously, mobile gaming is huge right now. Mobile gaming is kind of just where we're at right now. Everyone's got their mobile devices, tablets, phones, and they're usually using these for apps. So it's pretty exciting. Call of Duty Mobile, I think, could be huge for them. I think their main boon right now, which I want to say, is their recent release of World of Warcraft Classic. Again, I've never played World of Warcraft. I don't know what it's all about. But I know people freaking love it. And trust me, they do. Because I remember seeing that for the first several weeks of this launch, there was always queues to get onto servers because people were backed up that much trying to play this. And you know what that means? People are interested in the series, they're interested in the game. That's a lot of money coming on hand. And I'm going to be interested to see what this next quarter comes up for Activision, where we're looking in terms of like EPS and revenue. It's going to be really cool to see. So keep an eye out for that. But obviously investors were happy about this, raised the stock price pretty well. But if we're talking about stock price, this is a stock overall that's been hit pretty hard. We're going to go 5 years out, and you can see where this happened. So it was a very nice uptrend here, and then, we kind of reach a stagnant point where since 2018, down 32%. So why is that? Part of it was kind of a decline in revenue, I want to say. And most of it really is just due to a lack of, I want to say lack of content right now. It's kind of hard to say. Video game sales have been very rough lately, and I think people are attributing that too heavily to the specific creators. A lot of it's just the environment we're in right now. Mobile gaming is kind of where it's at right now. If this paints a picture of where gaming, console gaming's at, or video gaming in general is at, this is pretty rough. So, Grand Theft Auto 5, a game released 6-7 years ago, is still consistently the 5th most sold game on a month-to-month basis, even now in 2019, in October. In August it was. That's an awful sign, right? That this game that's 6-7 years old is still up there. It's just kind of a stagnant market right now. We're in between consoles. We're going to be releasing new consoles next year for both PlayStation and Xbox. That's going to bring a lot more excitement in and a lot more games. But right now we're just kind of in a dull period where not a lot of new, blockbuster hit games are coming out. And there's not a lot of excitement about the games industry. And that's why there really is a decline in this revenue. That's as far as Activision is concerned. I like it a lot. I like where the value's at right now. A 20.68 forward PE. I like the valuation. Revenue $7 billion trailing 12 month. Okay, we'll take it. Cash of around $5 billion and debts around $3 billion. I don't like that aspect necessarily too much, but I like where the company stands right now, and I like the future for growth. One other thing that I need to mention before passing through this is Overwatch. So obviously Overwatch is it's hard to compare it. It's kind of like it's a team-based game, 5 versus 5, defending points. There's a bunch of everything. It's kind of like a Team Fortress 2, games of that aspect, games like that. Dota, all those kind of games, those 5v5 type games. Overwatch League is a big thing, and there's a lot of room for growth in terms of actually seeing this kind of content streamed not only online but also in terms of like cable, which is crazy to think. It's crazy to think that Overwatch League is actually a televised thing. It's a televised thing that people tune into a lot, and people go watch it in person. Esports, I hate calling it esports. They're not sports, but gaming online is the next biggest thing. It's the next biggest competition. People are huge into this, and they're drawing a lot of crowds. And this is a huge aspect for Activision. Obviously, as the makers of Call of Duty, which is another super competitive game. They have a lot of aspects to move that forward and actually make those investments to grow their business in that aspect. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the future if they plan on other things. But obviously, Overwatch League is still a thing. They're still adding expansion teams even, which I don't know. It's a concept I don't necessarily grasp. I'm a sports guy. It's weird to me that there's expansion teams for a video game, but people are digging it. People love it. And I'm not going to poo-poo them, If that's what they like, that's what they like. I love Activision right now as a stock, and I think in the meantime, they pay a small dividend, and I've been collecting a small dividend. I'm okay with it. This is a stock that's going to appreciate in value over the next 5 years. I can guarantee it. I think it's a good stock to buy. We're going to go into my final stock, which is my speculative one. You might think it's weird. Plug Power. So Plug Power, right? What is this? It's a penny stock. What am I doing here? It's a penny stock. I don't like penny stocks. You know me. This is a hydrogen fuel cell manufacturer. And those hydrogen fuel cells are used in batteries, usually for electric automobile batteries. Right? You catch my drift here? Electric vehicles are the future, and they truly are. And this is what most people are going to be driving 10 years from now, is electric vehicles. It's just how it is. So to get a manufacturer of even replacement parts, or people who you can actually partner with a dealership on, or partner with a manufacturer, that is, it'd be crazy. There's a lot of revenue to be had here. It's a very fruitful business, I believe, in the future. And it's been consistently trading, in penny stock valuations. Obviously, in the past 5 years, have been not a good downtrend here. We don't like it. 52-week low of $1. So we're not at that point, but this is a company that I'm excited for the future because of this news that they released, where they aim for $1 billion of annual revenue by 2024. So where they're at right now is somewhere around the 200 million range. So what they're telling me is they're going to quadruple the money they're making. In 5 years, they're going to quadruple the money that they're making this year. That's impressive to me, if they can make it happen. Obviously, this is not necessarily a guarantee, right? This is where the company wants to be. So it's not a guarantee of where it's going to be. I just want to show you this chart here, the past 5 years for revenue in terms of Plug Power. Obviously, this is a good uptrend. I like seeing revenue charts like this. I want to see positive growth. And that's what they're showing here for me. That's what I like. So, in terms of this, I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. I think this company has a chance to do it, and if they did reach it, there's a lot of money to be made in this stock. Obviously, this is not my kind of stock. Normally, I don't talk about this stuff much, but if I can see revenue growing, I think it's usually worth giving a chance as long as it's not super overvalued, and this is definitely not a stock that's overvalued by any means. They're growing business, and they're actually signing a lot of agreements, too. They're working on expanding globally. Plug's reached an agreement with United Hydrogen, hydrogen delivery operation, with a dedicated supply of liquid hydrogen, right? They're globally expanding right now. It'll be a lot interesting to see where the company goes in the future, and I'm super excited to see where it goes. So these are my stocks to buy. Activision. Facebook, Activision, Plug Power. FB, ticker symbol FB for Facebook, ATVI for Activision, and Plug Power is ticker symbol PLUG. Definitely go ahead and look at these stocks. You don't necessarily have to buy them because I did. Obviously, it's a spooky month in October coming up. So we might see some spooky losses, but we might see some super exciting gains. I hope you really like this. Take a look at these and let me know what you think.